We're back.
I was ready this time.
I was making sure it's
Hey
definitely recording.
guys.
It's definitely recording. It's so
I mean,
annoying.
it says it's recording my side, so
Yeah,
we're
okay,
sweet.
that's good. That's the main thing. I need a countdown. I wonder if there's a way to be like, give us a countdown. We're not good without a countdown.
I just, yeah, we're
We
just
just
gonna have to rock and roll with it. We
till it says. But we are back. So no PCA,
no, very
but
bizarre. No
there
PC.
was a two rows, and I am actually shocked at how dead it was.
I'll be
Because
honest with you, until we go through this, I haven't properly gone through it. So I'm literally instant responding on this.
the open and naturals on the same day, because I've had clients do these like even last year, and like because they always do they've run it differently this time. So they normally do all the open first, then they finish, then all the naturals after.
Mm-hmm.
They ran it at the same time. So like classic open, classic natural. So then it was like bikini open, bikini
Okay.
natural, which I like the idea of, to be fair, because I know it sucks for us bikini girls being last, double last. But ultimately, at least, especially if you're doing two, which we saw like Fit Model and Bikini, that basically they won both. But at least you are kind of more back to back. So you are peaking around the same time rather than being on stage and then you've got to wait like 6 hours
The
and
peaking is good though, but speaking from experience, and you will know this as well, how bloody horrendous it feels to do like back-to-back classes. Like
mm,
I think to PCA when like I got my pro card where I won bikini medium and then like 3 classes later I was back on for the overall and then immediately after that back on for the pro show and I
that's
was
not too
battered
good.
by the time I got to the pro show.
Yeah.
So fair play to the girls that went on to win
Mm,
both because you must have been battered by the time you got to the end. So
yeah. But
congrats.
when I've had girls do it before, they weren't on stage till like 7 or something like that. And I think
Yeah.
most of the show was done definitely not that late. So it wasn't that busy. So what we'll do first, if I can get my page up, I've got to get the right page, is talk about Mel.
Yes, Mel.
If I can get, I need to move my little search bar.
I am so fucking buzzed for you, and I capital F the fucking.
So, yes, so
Oh, mate,
fucking flipping
congratulations.
happy that she finally got it. I would
Congratulations.
say for anyone that doesn't know Mel, which I don't know who doesn't, anyone that doesn't, Mel has been trying for her pro card for this season relentlessly. She
Yeah.
used to compete in bikini,
Bikini.
has
Yeah.
moved to fit model, and basically she suits it so much. Like she's just got such like that pretty physique for fit model. But yeah, relentlessly done shows on shows on shows. Finally got it at Portugal, and then also what a show to do it at that you can do the pro show the next day. As knackering as it is,
Oh, mate.
in the
And
moment,
being
you're but hindsight, she can look back on that and be like,
Yeah,
"What?
being real as well, like because I've competed on that stage and it's by far one of the best European NPC stages to compete on. And it's probably one of the most spoken about stages to compete on as a IFBB pro because they've got the
Yeah."
spinning stage as you enter. It's so sick.
What is interesting is they actually moved. I don't know if they did the pro qualifier at the other venue. So the last couple of years, they've moved away from Estoril to the
Oh,
casino.
really?
Away because obviously I've done it for the last couple of years there, and they moved it to a convention center in Lisbon. So it's not as jazzy to
Mm.
look at, but the backstage was so much better because at the casino, the backstage area is like a bloody ants burrow. I don't know if that's the right term, but it's just like little dingy hallways and you're sat on the floor and it's not it looks great when you're on
Yeah.
stage and on the outside, but the actual backstage area is not great. But the
Yeah,
other
I mean, I loved it when I did it in
oh yeah, no, it was
2022.
good. But the other venue, once you've done both, because I did both, and I was sat basically in this little hallway, it's dark lights, you can't really go anywhere. So it's great on stage, but the backstage was just not a vibe. But then at the
Yeah.
you. It's not as jazzy. It's still a really good stage. It's just not as jazzy as the casino. But the backstage was all open plan, all light. No one was getting on top of each other. So they both had pros and cons. So I don't know where the pro
Mm,
qualifier was, but obviously the spinning stage is something that everyone talks about. See if I can get it on the
yeah. And
pro.
I love the medal. The medals are like dinner
Oh,
plates.
yeah, they're so big, aren't they? I don't know.
It's crazy. But no, I think like
Want to be on that
if you're
stage, like
gonna
spinning
win your
around.
pro card at a show in Europe, well, there's definitely one video. There's definitely videos on. I want to say Taylor Jocelyn has got it on hers because she did the pro show. Um, but yeah,
Oh, here we go. Because also
there
this
we go.
this fit model show was the first pro show in Europe. So that's madness. That's
Europe.
why this is
Yes.
so busy. Like
There were
absolute
like 40 girls as well, weren't there? Something like that.
nine.
Mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were about 45 girls in Pittsburgh
Hmm.
when I watched the pro show in Pittsburgh. Nuts. But it's
It's
so sick. Like, I love it.
I'd fall off because it is supposedly quite unsettling. But it looks great. So yeah, but yeah, well done to Mel. Like honestly,
Congrats.
fully deserved. Now she gets some downtime, she gets some rest. I think
It's,
she's gonna want to compete again, but she's gonna go back to training how she wants to train as well.
yeah, it's literally tenacity personified. So I'm just glad it paid off for you, Mel. Like, so well deserved.
You can't not like smile for her when you see things like this because she just works so fucking hard. So yes, we not say well done to Mel. So well done, Mel. Finally got it. If anyone's absolutely deserving it, I feel like I would have just walked up and given her a fucking IFBB Pro card if she didn't get it in this one. Just please take it. You worked so hard for it. So I'm very glad she got it. Then let's go into this is a good thing as well that they did these shows kind of back to back. So it means we can actually talk about
Hmm.
wellness at the same time, bikini at the same time,
Yes.
everything as a whole. So going off the lovely
Did
photos,
they?
I don't
For
think any of these photos are where everyone is.
me, I'm sorry, but
One job.
that's a professional stage picture, yeah? Like now, normally I don't go in on that kind of stuff, but if you are telling me that that is the best picture that you have got of two people in your overall, then you need your heads checking. Like that's shocking.
That
Like, sorry,
it's
you both look incredible, ladies,
yeah,
but like it would have been half decent
done
to
you a
maybe wait until you're
disservice.
both in a pose.
Especially because, like, one, even if you were doing your front to back very quickly, it's the photographer's job to get these photos. So
Yeah, but
it's
regardless, you go up there and you hit your front pose and you wait for them to tell you to turn and face the back. There is opportunity.
mm.
That is
So,
disappointing.
yes, and unfortunately, this isn't the only photo that's going to be like that, but
Nope.
we will have to, we will do the best with what we've got.
I
So,
think as well, like just putting it out there, like I hope that everyone's individual pictures were better than this because when you're spending that kind of money and you can only get judges' feedback by buying the stage pictures, like this doesn't give you a whole lot of confidence.
mm. They
Um,
are, but also this is a side note for anyone that is unsure. If you happen to do two classes, unless they've changed the rules, because I do not buy the photos anymore.
mhm,
If you do two classes, if you do like a novice and an open class, for example, you will only do your individual. It's not even an eye walk, it's a walk on. You'll only do it once,
yeah.
and that is for your first class. If you pay for
Yes.
photos, you are paying for a class. And again, if you pay for your open, you're essentially paying £100 for your comparisons because there
Yes.
will be no individuals. So remember that. I don't say this to hate because that it is just it's very matter of fact. I've been caught up with that before when I first started. Rules might have changed, but it's just to know because the photos are actually good. Like I do like the quality of
Oh,
these
the
photos.
quality is
But
great.
up to what they were. They used to never be that good. But it's more knowing if you do two classes and you want photos of you by yourself, always go for the first class because you also can't choose which walk you're going to do. It's always your first class. So again, that's if you're doing two. Just bear
Well,
that in mind.
I'm guessing that this wasn't Maidenhead, was it?
No, this was at Rotherham.
Okay, no, the only reason I bring it up is because I think that part of the reason why these pictures look so much better is because the stage lighting um makes a massive difference to what the quality of the pictures look like. And with Maidenhead, because it's an open room,
Hmm.
there's room for a lot of lights to come in outside of the stage lights. So that can really affect the photographer's ability to kind of get the depth of the image that you see here. But like I said, any comments that I've made are not about the quality of the imagery itself, because you know, you can't fault that. It's just
Yeah.
waiting for the girls to be in a pose, or at least posting a picture where both everyone that's in the picture is in the pose.
Yeah. It's better
Wouldn't
than
go amiss.
the camera phone photos. So at least we've got something to go off of. But they do seem to be moving away from Maidenhead. But I think that might, I
Okay.
don't know what choice that is because Maidenhead were getting a little bit funny with the competitions as
Okay.
well. They didn't really like it. So whether it's a Maidenhead thing or a them thing, either way, I like the quality of the photos. It would just be nice if they were posing in the
I,
photos.
I
So
don't think it's necessarily a loss because I think that, like, if the venues are going to continue looking like this, that's much
yeah, no,
better
no,
for
yeah, I think it's way
photography,
better.
for athletes, all of that.
Yeah, you're paying £100 for photos. You want decent photos. So winner. And rightly so. She looks great.
Oh, yeah.
When we said about
Because
wellness,
by the way, I'm really sorry, but I don't know how to pronounce your name, lovely. So I'm not even going to insult you and
I was hoping you would
try.
say it before me because I don't know how to
I
pronounce.
mean, I would maybe go with Eureka, but
Yeah.
I apologize if that's wrong. I'm ignorant, right?
We
But
don't know unless you tell us.
um,
So that's the thing. So, don't
but
know.
she is a PCA pro. And I'm almost certain that she competed at PCA Worlds after getting her pro card at the British. And but there was no wellness pro class at the British. So I think her first opportunity to compete as a pro for PCA was at PCA Worlds. And I remember seeing the pictures from her then, and I was like, wow, like that is wellness. So, I think that seeing her turn up to this show, I was like, if she isn't gonna win it, it's gonna take something phenomenal to beat her. And we know sometimes, like, you get those lineups where like six phenomenal people turn up at once, but you just know sometimes when you see a physique, you're like, that physique is gonna
Oh, I just
take it
liked
all.
it.
Unless
Worth it.
someone equally as dominant turns up. But I love her physique.
This,
Um,
all I think about when I look at this is when you think about how many times we said about it's only PCA recently because it's only been PCA shows, and we also haven't had good content like this to be able to post about. Luckily, she shares a lot on her page. This is wellness. This is when we say muscle density, structure. Remember, she's still got a solid upper body. So she's
yes.
still got muscle up there. She's still unbalanced in the right ways. She's got
Mhm.
density, her posing, and the biggest thing I want to say is her waist. Not, I don't want to stereotype, but it's more common that a lot of wellness girls have a little bit more of a thicker waist. Her
Mhm.
waist is still really, really aesthetic. So that is
Yeah.
helping her overall shape. Like she's got the shoulders, waist is in, and then you just can't fault that density. So if you're ever unsure, I know obviously this is pro worthy. So I know we don't ever want to compare if we're starting off, but understand that this is when we say the structure, the density, the
Mhm.
shape as a whole, this is the standard. If you want to be wellness,
Yeah.
then obviously looking at Olympia and all that kind of stuff. But this is a regional event and this
Mhm.
is what she's bringing.
I
So
also think as well, like, and people don't often talk about this though, which is like muscle insertions and how much that helps. Like, I think that when it comes to this pose in particular, one thing that can make a waist look more favorable is having a really deep side projection of the glute. And there are a lot of people that can have a lot of muscle in their glutes, but they don't necessarily have the depth in terms of how much the glute projects outwards. And because she's got those muscle insertions that you would say are kind of closer together, she's got shorter muscle insertions. Her glute grows outwards, which then exaggerates the glute to waist ratio. And that's genetics. By the way, that's not me saying that you haven't worked for it, because you've got fantastic genetics and you've clearly worked hard to build that. Like, that doesn't just come, but you do have to have the muscular structure capability to build in a way that the category wants you to go. And I think that she's a really good representation of having the genetic potential combined with what is clearly a lot of hard work to build on that genetic potential.
I think it's just basically pointing out that, especially to be competitive in this sport, that's the harshness of it, that if you want to be getting up there and be competitive, genetics play a part. Unfortunately, that's what it is. If you don't want to be in a genetic-based sport and you're going to get upset by that,
yes,
something else, because that you've entered into it. I'm never going to go to the Olympia. I'm not. But I'm going to be very content as long as I'm improving. I know my limitations, but I want to make sure I'm getting better, and I know those limits. But also, I think some people, and it's not to discredit some people, some people might want to be an IFBB pro, but ultimately, if you're starting later, you don't have the muscle, they don't have the muscle maturity, you just don't have the structure. Understand there is, unfortunately, those limitations. It doesn't mean you can't still compete, but just set yourself up for a success with the right federations. But if when it comes to hard work and structure, this is great.
That's why, like, I when I hear people say comparison is the thief of joy, like, I don't know that I always agree with it. I agree that comparison, when used with the wrong intention, is the thief of joy, in a sense of, like, you can use comparison. Like, I look at this girl here and I'm like, okay, I'll compare her to me. I find that inspiring. Like, I would love to look like that. Like, in terms of, like, her muscle, the amount of muscle she has, what it looks like on her, I'm like, that's inspiring. And if I compare myself to that, there's a gap in terms of what she is versus what I am. But I accept that. It's when people look at someone like this and go, I want to look like her, and I'm upset that I don't. And it's like, you won't, none of us will ever look like that. She looks like her. She looks like the best version of her. Like, I think if people could better use comparison as inspiration rather than I'm gonna look like that, then comparison wouldn't hit people half as hard as what it does. It's the delusion of thinking that you can build yourself into something that your body isn't capable of building itself into. You can only be the best version of yourself.
That's literally it, being the best version of yourself. Like, I am so different from where I was when I first started this journey, but people get really shitty if they just do, well, I've committed to this for a year, I've done a build and I've done a cut, why don't I look any different? Mate, we've been doing it like 10 years, and I don't look like I've got that much muscle. Like, I compare you against you and make sure you're making progress. And it's something I spoke about on my Instagram stories earlier, like, you yourself as comparison, other people as motivation. That's the biggest. And if putting you down, then you've got to reframe your mindset as to why you're thinking like that. But either way, 2 weeks, isn't it, until the pro qualifier?
Yes.
Unless another amazing physique turns up, she's got it. Like, and credit to her. Like, I would be like, yeah, hand it over to her. You're absolutely worthy of it, and I'd love to see.
You just have to hope that enough people turn up. That's the problem.
Yeah, hopefully.
For those of you that don't know, you can only get your pro card if enough people turn up and compete in the category that you're wanting to get your pro card in, unless you appeal to the IFBB, and then they can review and be like, if they look at you and think, okay, if there had been enough numbers, would we have deemed you of standard? Then they can award the pro card. But there's no guarantee of that. And I think everybody wants to have their moment where they get to hold the pro card up and all of that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, as great as an appeal win would be, I think most people would want to have their moment on stage.
Yeah, to know that you've got it in that moment, but at
Mm.
least there is always a way. Like if you are worthy of it, then yeah, you can appeal. But it's just kind of pulls away the fun of the excitement of it. So hopefully
Mhm.
people turn up because again,
Yeah.
just because who's here now doesn't mean that's who's going to turn up on show day. Remember, pro qualifiers are open to everyone. We do tend to get a lot of Europeans come over, and I would
Yes.
like to think if they've been keeping an eye on this regional, if they're quite good, they'll probably come over and be like, got this one, because that's what tends to happen at the UK
Yeah.
pro qualifiers. A lot of Italians, Spanish people, some people from
Yeah.
France, but mainly, yeah, Europeans come over because it is easier, but because it's cheaper than going to America.
Yeah. 100%.
So we don't have a back shot for these comparisons, of course.
Really?
But
uh,
we have hopefully we've got
Shana.
Donna,
Yeah.
and then hopefully, so she is one. So that was last year.
Yeah, I think Shana's won a couple of overalls with PCA. I want to say that she maybe won East Anglia last year as well, something like that, I think.
Kind of, yeah. Well,
Um,
a post
because
anyway.
I want to say she was a first timer last year, I think. And like, I think she blew a lot of people away in terms of like turning up as a first timer with the amount of muscle that she had and the structure that she had. Like, there's absolutely no doubt that she's made for wellness. And it's nice to see that she's built on and developed on what was already a good start point for her competitive career. But it does not surprise me that she came away as the overall winner for this. And again, not without even knowing who else turned up. When I heard that she'd won it, I was like, well, that doesn't surprise me. That is a physique that I would expect to win this kind of show.
Yeah, and like this is the thing as well. So I don't know how old she is. She looks quite young.
I'm not
Um,
sure.
but if we look at this is where again you look at the difference between maybe a natural and assisted. An assisted person is
Mm,
normally, I don't want again, you've got a hard work, structure, all that kind of stuff. But if we're just taking blanket statements, an assisted athlete is normally just harder and tighter. And the fact that she has this amount of muscle being a natural, like wellness,
hmm.
being a proper wellness athlete as a natural
Agree.
is so fucking rare. It is rare
Hmm.
because as females as
Agree.
well, to build that muscle naturally and be impressive with it, to be worthy of being like you look at that and be like, you are wellness, like fucking hats off to you. Because again,
Hmm.
yes, genetics play a part, they do, but
Hmm.
that's not discrediting all the hard work she's had to build
No,
that
no, no.
first place. So I think she's got a like great physique, and I do think
Hmm.
it's nice because I do sometimes we're a bit poo-poo on wellness, going more density, be leaner, blah blah blah. But again, this is showing the standard to what should be expected. Like we should all hold ourselves to a certain standard. If we're not
Mm.
there yet, especially if you're wanting to be like wellness, which requires muscle density and muscle maturity, don't rush it. Why are you rushing
Yeah,
it? Build that
yeah,
muscle if you want to fit that category.
yeah.
For a lot of us, especially natural, takes fucking time. It takes
Oh,
time.
mate, I was having this conversation with someone the other day where I was like, look, like wellness is not a category that you can kind of just train for a couple of years and be it. Like, even if you've got the genetic capability to be it, it takes years of slamming muscle on that frame. If you're natty,
Mm,
you got to accept that the rate of development is going to be a little bit slower, even if you have that genetic structure to beat it. And again, like I think even if you're assisted, like to truly be top level,
mm.
it takes a long time.
But
So I think it's just really nice to see two good representations of wellness
I'm
in
here
this show today.
and point out again, she still has muscle on her upper body. So again, so
Hmm.
many people, yes, I do appreciate you need to train legs 3 times a week or 4 times, whatever your split is, to grow that unbalanced physique. But you still need to have some muscle up there. Don't have
Yeah,
twin arms and then have nothing up top because they still want to see that shape. It's just a more unbalanced but still muscular shape.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, no. Really well done.
So fit model.
Okay, we're not gonna talk about the photography, we'll just move on.
Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to
They're
say,
not, yeah, no.
is it Neve that she's pronounced her name? Because I think it's pronounced.
Neve, I would say. That's the Irish, I think it's the Irish
Yeah,
version of
I
Neve.
never want to pronounce it wrong because
Yeah.
I do know Neve because she is literally the loveliest girl. So from Portugal last
Oh.
year, me and her were the only two UK girls basically. And I happened to
Mm.
randomly meet her backstage. So we didn't know each other at the time. And
Yeah,
she didn't really know anyone. I was just chilling by myself. So she sat with me for a bit.
yeah.
And she had moved from Bikini, making Fit Model debut last year in Portugal. And I remember I got some like pictures and videos for her to
Hmm.
document. She was just such a really, she's so young as well. Just a really, really nice
We
little.
like when nice people win.
So I mean, if we look at obviously where she is in the open lineup, because as I said, don't it's just open. So it's hard to go off the photos because obviously here we've got lovely small waist,
Hmm.
not hitting her pose, not hitting her pose. Not hitting
Sorry.
her pose. But if we look at the lineup as a whole, what we go off,
Yes.
I would say, she's got that balance
Hmm.
between obviously nice full glutes. She come in, that's probably lighting that's making her look leaner. She probably isn't as lean, but she is showing more definition than these three from behind. So
Yeah,
we've got to
there's
remember there still needs to be muscle and condition with
yeah.
fit model.
She looks firm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's probably the best way that I would describe it is that, there's a good tension of the skin around the muscle, which is creating enough definition without it being dug out.
Mm,
So yeah, I couldn't fault that really. I think that's a
doesn't
fair
pose
outcome.
much in the
Um,
of physique update. So if we then compare her in the lineup here, so again, I'd just say it's just probably again, it shouldn't be, but it is the prettiness of her physique, and it's not discrediting these girls; they're all
no.
pretty, but her overall physique that she brings and like the look that she brings, we still look
Yeah.
like we have a little bit of muscle going on here. Waist comes in, looking at the back shots again. She just looks like she has the leanest physique from the back. Again, it's
Hmm.
not bikini lean, inside out lean, but she's got the leanest physique, but the muscle coming through. And I know that's
Hmm.
something we've said before. You have to have muscle. If you just get
Hmm.
lean, like we've said it before, we used to call the backs of my legs begs. They were just bum legs. And because the muscle wasn't there. So I say to all of you guys, if you go, I can't grow my glutes, it's lies. Because if I can grow something, anyone can grow something. You're
Oh,
trained.
mate, I'm still trying.
So remember, fit model. We love fit model here. We're pro fit model. So you do need to have the muscle there, but get that leanness there as well.
Yeah.
It's still about that balance. So can
Mhm.
absolutely see, especially based on the lineup, why she brought that complete package that says fit model.
Yeah, there's a few really nice fit model looks here though.
I
I
do
think in this naturals lineup in particular, I mean, the picture does them
yeah,
better justice.
we
But
kind of waited till they were kind of
we've spoken about this before though, where it's kind of like you would expect to have good naturals physiques for fit model because it kind of is leaning more that way.
yeah.
So like I feel like all of these girls in their own right have a structure that is really suited to the category criteria. So I don't necessarily think it's a case of like anybody is here that doesn't belong here. It's just a case of refining
That's
certain parts
unique
that
development
will,
for the
yeah,
criteria.
make them more competitive. Yeah.
You think about what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, just like you would in bikini, where
Hmm.
you fine tune certain things. So, do we need to, like here, maybe have a little bit more muscle so the glutes pop a
Agree.
bit more, come in a little bit leaner?
Hmm.
And the same here. Just I know she's transitioned, you were done over there, but again, it could be the fact that we say with PCA, just we're getting that muscle to come through to
Yeah.
then. But I do want to touch on if you follow or go look for Foxy and Cub just
Hmm.
because she's so pro fit model her page,
Yes.
And she also does a lot of, I don't know if she's actually working with Suki and Beyond the Stage, but
Mm.
if you are wanting to keep up to date with a lot of the fit model that's going on, she's great at it. And like,
Yeah.
credit to her, she's just kind of started this, I think, on a whim. Like she did first half of the season, took a little bit of a break, and then she's gone again. But she does like, she's very committed to the fit model updates. So if you're wanting to know more in the NPC realms, like absolutely, like go give her a follow because it's just going to help more. The more you can educate yourself around all of this, the better.
Love to see it.
And then we have Bikini. So again, double
Mhm.
win again. So if I can get there, there's
Yes.
the overall. So in the open, so we had, I don't know how many, it's
Hi,
Heidi.
is it Heidi?
Yeah,
Heidi?
it's Heidi.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And she had a double win. I don't know if we've got, so she is with Dan Welburn. So
Yeah, I think she won an overall with NPC either last year or the year before. I can't remember when it
really,
was.
a couple of years ago, 64 weeks ago,
Yeah.
2023.
Um, like you can tell that she's got the NPC
Mm.
structure. Do you know what I mean? Like this check-in picture, I remember seeing it a couple of days ago, a few days ago, or whenever it was just before our show. And I was like, wow, like she was good before and she's even better now.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. And especially like you were touching on with Shana, like to have this kind of structure, this kind of density and definition
Mhm.
for bikini as a natural is impressive.
Yeah.
Especially if you go on to win the Open as well. That's no mean feat.
Yeah.
And just to put it out there, like people always seem to think now that you can't be competitive in bikini unless you're taking assistance. And it's like this just goes to show that that really isn't true. Like if you are good enough, you are good enough. Like nobody is sat on the judging panel going,
Who's taking the
right, that
drugs?
person looks like they're taking all the drugs, so first
Yeah.
place. Like that's not how it works. You look either fits the category or it doesn't. And as well, like they've just done a really good job building and peaking this
Yeah.
look, I think. Like, so credit to Amy, her coach, as well. Like, I think they've both done a really good job here.
Yeah, I think that's literally what it is. It's like there's that saying that Adam from Team League says you've got to be good from everywhere, not great from somewhere. And this is
Mhm.
exactly what she is. She's got, when you think of the criteria, top line, waist, glutes,
Mhm.
condition, muscle density, you know, the shapes that she makes as well in her posing. Like remember, posing is important. Like, and I know we said
Mm.
before, PCA is very fixed posing. She's still posing hard here, like core will be engaged, shoulders there, but it's more effortless looking for MP.
Yes.
That's what you've got to bear in mind. It's not a switch off. It's a you need to have the muscle there to make it look effortless. But
Mhm.
I guarantee she's probably like, oh my God, trying to keep everything switched on. Glutes to the side so we can see the glutes, keeping those that core engaged. But yeah, the condition,
Mm.
and that's what you've got to bear in mind as well. Have enough muscle in the first place, show off the shapes you need to make, have the right balance with condition, and have
Yes.
your balance as an overall physique.
Agree.
It is something we touched on here in the lineup.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's just like, come on, like, just let them get in the pose.
Well, we've got, yeah, transitioning.
Especially when you've got your overall winner not
The
even in the
winner, she's
pose.
not even in the phone. So yeah, as a whole, and I know you brought up Chanel.
Yeah, so Chanel's my posing client, and I just wanted what you were touching on with posing is something that she's posted her stage pictures up actually, like not long before we jumped on the podcast. But one thing I just wanted to touch on was the posing differences between NPC and PCA and what we spoke about in terms of like adjusting her to make sure that she was better suited to what NPC were looking for. So when we were posing for PCA, we were thinking more about creating the most interesting shapes that she could make. So, you know, in the front pose, showing off that strong X frame. And obviously, the side pose that she does in her PCA posing is the same as the side pose that she does for NPC. And it was about sitting into that glute more for PCA. And it didn't matter if the upper body tipped forward as much, as long as she was showing off the width of her upper body and making sure that that glute curve was showing. Just make the most interesting S shape that you can make. Now, when we had some posing sessions in her peak week, I was like, you can't pose like that for NPC. Like, you need to make it look like you're not trying too hard. And the guide that I usually give to my posing clients is make sure that your midsection is upright and mold everything else around it, even if it means sacrificing a little bit of that side profile of the glute to make sure that the midsection is upright. That's what makes that pose look effortless, because as soon as you start tipping forward, the judges go, her upper body is tipping forward because she's trying to push her glutes back. And because she's trying to push her glutes back, it's clearly a muscle that isn't developed enough to create that profile that we want. So, what I was saying to her is like, just make sure that you're not overdoing it and step it back a little bit to just bring it in line with the look that they like.
Yeah, I think we've touched on this before, but if you are trying to hit, even like with PCA poses, but definitely NPC poses, if you are taking your own pictures and videos, make sure you screenshot these, what would be your front page for NPC. You can go on your edit feature on your phone, you can get the ruler up, and the biggest tools is, can you draw a straight line with your ruler from shoulder to shoulder? And then can you turn the ruler around and do a straight line from your shoulder down to your glutes? Because if you're leaning, your shoulder is going to come here, and then your glutes are going to be back there. If you're not rotating enough, your shoulder is going to be there. So if you can line up with your ruler, the shoulder down to your glute, and then have a straight line here, then you know pretty much your postures and mobility and your rotation is going to be pretty much in a good spot. Obviously, analyze everything else, but that's just a handy little tip. And I know you were saying about, obviously, because she does look fucking impressive. She does. There's no
And
denying
we
that.
Yeah, we were talking about it because I was like, for me, like she looks unreal. And like I think that this is, and I think we've spoken about this before, like where the difference between how the pros are judged and how the amateurs are judged can come into play. Because, I know plenty of pros that look like what Chanel looks like. And I think because you know that, you think, well, that's got to be an overall winner there because that compares to what I would expect a pro to look like. But that isn't always how NPC judge their shows. And like you touched on before we got on the call, it's like for a regional show, this look potentially might have been too hard and too dry. For them to award it as an overall look. I don't necessarily know that I always agree with that, but this isn't to take away from Heidi, by the way, because I think that Heidi had a lovely look as well. But I just always find it really interesting that the looks that they award at different levels of show, whether that be regional, pro qual, and then pro show, slightly different through the ranks.
Yeah. So I am team glutes through and through. And I think I love Chanel's physique because she is dense, she is full, she is lean, like conditioned. But if I'm being honest, which I know we kind of touched on, that's why I'm going to say it again, too lean, far too lean. Like when I watch like Adam's feedback videos on pro shows as well, not Adam's, when I watch Tyler Mannion's videos on pro shows, the words that I hear in my head when I see this back shot is she has etched in glutes. And that's something they just don't want. So it's a real, like, it's not discrediting her look. And as you said, the regionals are always so different from a pro qualifier. But I would maybe even go to say that this is probably even too lean, personally, from what I've seen for a pro qualifier, which I'm all for, like, the more impressive, the better. But this touches on great from somewhere, not good from everywhere. And I do then start thinking, if she's got this muscle, what's her training like? Could she go into wellness? Because I know that's a great compliment, because if she's got some density there, she can build some hamstrings up. Because if we look at like her front shot, she might not want to go into wellness, but she's already got a lot of muscle on her top half. She's already getting quite thick on her bottom half. So a lot of her physique, if she obviously wants to stay in bikini, is going to be very much fine tuning. It might be pulling back on things, it might be softening up things, and yeah, having a little play, because it is really impressive. But it's then, especially in the amateur ranks, even in pro qualifiers, it can sometimes be too much. The right show, yeah, I'm all for it, because I'm all like a big, lean, dense. I love it. But going off the
Yeah.
pro qualifiers and the feedback for NPC as well, like PCA, fucking hammer it. You are like in.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this,
Yeah.
it's knowing like that side of things. But I don't know, like,
I
would you
mean,
be
what
well?
what I would say though is uh this is where picking your pro qualifier strategically matters. Like if I was Chanel, I would potentially be thinking about shows in Spain or Portugal where the girls tend to come in a little bit harder and a little bit drier. Um, but I get where you're coming from in what you're saying. Like you've got no argument from me on that.
Um, did I have Portugal up? I don't think I had Portugal up anywhere. Must have got rid of it. But yeah, I mean that's a bit. I would agree with Spain to be fair, to be looking at like because they do tend to like they've got better with it, but they do tend to like the leaner physiques.
Mhm.
Portugal they're changing a little bit, but yeah,
Or
definitely.
even your Romania's, right? Like Wings of Strength shows, they absolutely love. They
Yeah.
love to reward a physique where you go, that's sick, but it doesn't align with bikini. Like I think about people that have done well at like Wings of Strength Romania, and it'll be people like Valeria Cord. Do you know what I mean? Or back in the day, Francesca Stoico. Do you know where you look at those physiques and you're like, that doesn't typically align with what bikini is. It's impressive,
Hmm.
but it's not typically bikini. And those types of physiques tend to do quite well in your Romania's.
Because I mean, this at least Portugal have posted a few things. Because I do remember when I competed the last couple years, the girls have had really big glutes, but they've actually been tiny.
Mm,
Like smaller, like this, like I kept getting my feedback about my shoulders being too big. And realistically, I was just a bit too unbalanced because my glutes still weren't big enough. But my shoulders were way bigger than the girls who were winning pro cards. But then if you were to put me in a pro lineup, bottom half aside, we'll ignore that. My shoulders probably weren't even big enough for a pro lineup. But yeah, it's just that physique development, isn't it? And that's that when you're this developed within it, it's actually a nice spot to be in. What do you decide? Do you have to pull back and tweak? Do you want to do that? Or do you want to full send it and just see how massive you can get?
yeah, yeah, for real.
So yeah, so Heidi obviously won both the open and the naturals. So double
Mhm.
win for Heidi. So again, they screwed you over by not being able to be in your position. But we can
In either post.
yeah, they did again. Came in really nicely. We can see that she's nice and full here. Got their glute ham tie. So all the other girls, they look great. Like we can see full
Yeah.
glutes. But it's just that balance between having that muscle density, but also having that condition there, which I think
Mhm.
does really stand out in this natural lineup.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was everyone for the shows.
Shows.
Um, and then I think you had a couple questions, didn't you? Oh no, physique
Oh,
review.
we had a physique review come in.
Yeah, got the page up ready. There we
By the
go.
way, guys, if we are still open to doing these,
We just don't, yeah. So if you've made it this far on the podcast and you want a physique review, just send me or Jodie or the Stage Standard Instagram a message and just say, just give us backstory. Have you competed before? What are you looking to achieve? What you want from us, and we will do our best. So this one, the last couple came to me. This one came to you. So
it
what
did.
was your background?
Okay, so this is Melody. So Melody's synopsis is she said it was my first show, PCA first timers, I want to say this was, I believe. Rather than naturals. I think it was PCA first timers, the one just gone. She's like, it's her first show. She hadn't competed any other fitness
Yeah, first
events
time as it says
before.
it here.
Yeah. She competed in wellness, which is ultimately what she'd hope to grow into as a category. But as she's only 20, she's not sure the muscle maturity is there yet. She's quite petite, 5'2", 46 kilos stage weight. And she said she's most interested to know whether her structure is actually suited for wellness. She finds it fairly easy to put muscle on everywhere. And she is due to do a large improvement phase, which she hasn't done yet up to this point. She hasn't had a structured improvement phase. But she just wanted to know really what our thoughts were. Is she better suited to junior bikini? Should she focus on wellness, and understanding what our thoughts are around that?
Okay, okay. Do you want to go first or do you...
Yes, I like obviously I've had a look at the pictures and the profiles since she sent it over. And I think that by the way, I've got to say credit to you that you're even thinking like this for starters, because I think a lot of people get locked in on a category and they're like, well, that's just the category that I'm doing. And they don't generally tend to be particularly open-minded to thinking about other categories unless someone suggests it. So I think credit to you on that. I think if you were to ask me where you're based now, I think you would be better suited to junior bikini. Like I think that the look is quite balanced right now. When I look at you, I'm like, okay, like there's nice developed shoulders, small waist, like glutes that aren't too intimidating. Everything looks like it flows very balanced and nicely together. It all looks like it belongs on the same physique. So by definition, I would say that would be a better fit for bikini.
Mhm.
Now in terms of like your genetic capability to build into wellness, that's something I guess we just have to see what happens with development. Now, I think if I'm looking at this shot, like I'm not sure what other shots we have.
Well, I can skip through them.
I'm wondering if you could just, if you wanted to develop it, end up being very, very, very good bikini. Um, it's one of those, I'm not saying you couldn't develop into wellness. And I think that if people have aspirations to give that a go, that they should try. But it's also about understanding where our body favors holding its muscle and where the ability to grow the muscle is. And I look at this and I'm like, I think with a good amount more muscle, this could be a really good bikini look. It's funny actually. I had this conversation with Shah Tushingham or Shah Smart, the junior bikini girl, right? When she competed in 2024, she'd said something about competing in wellness. And I was like, why be average wellness when you could be exceptional bikini?
Hmm.
And she will be exceptional bikini. Do you know what I mean? Like you see she is everything that bikini should be. And I feel like this is true for Melody. Like I don't necessarily look at where you're at right now and think she should do wellness. But I do look at this and think with development it could be really good bikini.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
So yeah, so I think that like I'd be asking a few questions. I think with anyone anyway, bikini or wellness, well, even more so bikini because it's a logic I try and say to myself, don't put yourself in a box and train like a bikini athlete. You want to grow no matter what you are, even fit model, train like a wellness athlete to then see what happens. Like you have to train, like I will go in. I'm not training like I want to grow glutes for a bikini. I'm training like I want to grow glutes for a wellness. My genetics will stop me. I'm not gonna just because I'm doing
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm gonna be wellness.
Well,
But
mate, I've been training like wellness for 8 years and still
yeah,
look like bikini. So,
that's the thing. The
that's
minute you go, I'm going to train like a bikini athlete, and it's not to discredit bikini because I am, but you
Mhm.
try and train up, you tell yourself, I'm training for wellness. I promise you that mindset, you're going to train harder anyway. Then what
Mhm.
will be. But at least
Yeah.
you've done that maximum potential.
Yeah.
If you gain quickly, which is a blessing, I would then be looking at your training split, your recovery, and ultimately, as you are still needing to grow everywhere, it's not like you're unbalanced from quads to hamstrings, glutes to quads, whatever. I would literally make sure I reverse out so I can get a good body composition to set myself up for a build. I would really commit. I know you want to do a long build phase, a year and a half, no pulling back, just full send, like get bloody strong, nail your
Mhm.
compound lifts. Then I wouldn't even think about competing. If you are truly wanting to be wellness, I would then do
Keep
like
going.
literally 5, 6 weeks, pull back, because you're gonna get an indicator. if you can shift that weight and pull on quick, you're going to get an indicator of what's actually muscle there.
Yeah.
And then that's going to tell you how has your rate of growth been. And if it hasn't been as successful, keep going, but maybe you're genetically more bikini, but you still packed on some muscle, or happy days, you're more wellness. And then I would then even say, unless you are some sort of genetic elite, another massive build phase. Because if you sounds like you have a really level head, which I absolutely love. You're
Mm.
young, so you've got all the time in the world to make sure like you put the time in now, just like we touched on between the girls saying they're for the wellness girls,
Yeah.
they're taking that time to build that muscle and they've stepped on stage as wellness girls. And it's not to discredit you right now because you're a first timer and you need to see where your muscle sits. So right
Yeah.
now, if you have more shows, I would say go to junior bikini, but that's
Agree.
how to then structure how I want to approach things. Have the heart of wellness through and through, train like wellness, train with patience and level up your training, and then give it a year, year and a half, pull back, see where things are at, and then go, okay, as I'm dieting down, short and sharp, like get in and out, don't mess around with it. I don't know why some people do like, I'm doing a 20-week deficit, just in and out, find out what your
Don't
shape's.
waste time.
Yeah, it's such a waste. Especially when some people are natural and they're like, oh, well, I've heard doing it quicker is going to eat into my muscle. Do you not think 20 weeks of a steady deficit is eating muscle? Like, so yeah, that's how I would do it. So I think you've got a lovely mindset and a great mindset,
Agree.
longevity in this sport, whatever you fall into. And I would train with the heart of what I want to be and go full send that because even if you have a wellness split, for example, you're still going to grow into bikini unless your
I'll be
glutes
honest with
grow
you,
up
most of us bikini girls are training lower than more than we're training upper, right?
three to four times a week, depending on recovery.
That's the thing, right? So it's like it is a case of wait and see. And I agree with everything that Georgia said. I think my comments were more focused around what I see in you structurally.
Yeah.
So what I was looking at is I was looking at the glute depth
Mm-hmm.
and the femur length. Which typically, if you and I, this is me speaking as someone that has long femurs, but also has a true passion for wellness, right? Like I love wellness; it's my favorite category. But I also know that with my body structure, unless I was willing to take hella drugs like, and probably work on my legs for the next 10 years. It's going to take a lot of time for me to fill my femur length in terms of the legs, but
Yeah.
also like I don't have necessarily a lot of surface area to fill with the glutes. And I think that if you look at the genetic structures of a lot of people that do well in wellness, they have shorter femurs
Yeah.
and more surface area to fill with the glutes, and then it's just literally a case of filling it in. Do you know what I mean? And building on it. So when I was speaking, I echo everything that George has said, by the way. Like, don't limit yourself in terms of like, oh, this is what I should do. So that's gonna where I'm gonna stick. Like, crack on and do what you've got to do. When I said what I said, I'm visualizing, I'm like, well, she's got great muscle
Oh,
insertions
yeah.
and body structure for bikini. So if you wanted to be really good bikini, like if the answer for you is, I want to be a really good competitor and I just need to know which category better suits me, then go with the one that your body is going to exaggerate the most with the genetic structure that you have. If it's like, I just want to do wellness, then just do the best that you can, but understand that we are all limited by our genetic structure. And that might ultimately end up making the decision for you.
Because I think ultimately I'm structurally made for figure because my glutes are the slowest. You still need glutes in figure. It's not discrediting that, but I can grow my quads like shit. My upper body is loyal to anything, so I can
Mhm.
get my upper, I can get my back, my lats, and I could blow my quads right up. And my glutes and hamstrings are okay. Like I can still keep bringing them up. So, but obviously right now I haven't trained my upper body in 3 months because I'm trying to balance out my shape. So yeah, that obviously jumping off the back of what you said, absolutely. She could be great for like Melody could be great for bikini because you have a nice structure as it is and it's building that balance on it. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on it. You're still so new to it that
Mhm.
longevity phase, reversing out and that longevity phase is going to be the big thing for you. But like huge well done.
Yeah.
You've got on stage, you've done a prep. A lot of
Yes.
people don't even do that. You've done a prep, you got on stage, and you brought a really nice look as well.
I
So
agree. Like I think it was a really nice look. And if you were getting back on stage again this year, I'd be like, try bikini and see
oh
how
yeah,
you fare.
especially as your
Um,
junior bikini because
mhm.
like other than the front pose, and then obviously the back pose, you just need to flare your lats. It doesn't quite stand here. I assumed you did a wellness back pose, not a bikini back pose, but you've got the side poses down. So yeah, have a little play, get jumping into bikini as well. So that was
Yes,
everything then. Then we did have a couple questions.
we did. Let me get them up.
I had to make sure I press stop share and not stop record.
No, I'm just checking to see. Yep, we're still recording.
Okay, thank you.
So I had a few questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll start with the one that I mentioned to you before we got on the call. So the person that asked this, I'm probably going to grip my back teeth a little bit. But let's get into it. The question is, what are your thoughts on taking PEDs and peptides, and do you take them? Okay, so right. Right, okay. Hang
Buckle
on.
up.
Okay, so in terms of this question, I've been very public in saying that I'm not natural. Um, I've also been very public in saying that I do not talk about what I do take, right? And there's a few reasons for this, but the main one being I did my first competitive season completely natural. The only supplement I took was protein powder. No pre-workout, no nothing, right? And I wasn't blessed to have a sponsor, so I couldn't afford it, right? 2020 came round, I started taking Clen. Okay. And then I decided that I was going to be publicly open with my experience of it and talk about it. And from the moment I did, I apparently became the spokesperson for Clen, and all my DMs, my question boxes, everything were just questions about Clen, to the point where I literally took to my story and have done ever since saying, do not ask me about drugs, because whilst I use Clen, I am not a spokesperson for it. I am not an advertisement for it. I don't believe that anyone should take performance enhancing drugs just because somebody else is doing it. Like I've always believed that if people decide that they want to go down that road, that should be because they've considered what their, like you have referred to before, risk to reward tolerance is, what their gaps are and what they need to do to fill it, and then figure out what they need to do for them. Like whether I do anything has no bearing on whether or not anybody else should do anything. Like PEDs, peptides, they're a very personal and specific conversation for you to have with yourself. I'm not using anything at the moment. Have I used stuff? Yes. Will I use stuff? Yes. Will I disclose what I do or don't use? Obviously, I've told you about Clen, but the rest of it doesn't matter. So, like, I just think that when it comes to all of that, you're going to hear lots of people talking about lots of things. But like I mentioned on the podcast when we were talking about Heidi winning the naturals, just because other people do stuff doesn't mean you have to. Right. But it's also about understanding that if you are going to do it naturally, the journey might take a little bit longer. Like, because you can't lean on things that are going to help accelerate the results. But you also might find that you have better longevity in the sport because you aren't taking things that are going to limit your health or affect your health in the long run that could affect your ability to continue in the sport. So I'm not against them. I use them when used appropriately. Um, I also think that first time, and this is just a personal perspective of me, this is no, you might have a different opinion, G, but this is just me. I think that first timers talking about taking PEDs, I'm like, what are you doing? Like for me, I'm like, the way that I see it personally is you're willing to put something in your body that could do permanent damage to you for something that you don't even know you like yet. So I'm very passionate about first timers where possible, just going through prep and enjoying the experience of it and deciding that they want to lock in before they lean on things like that. Um, that's always my preference. But obviously it's an individual decision for you. But I tend to, if I get inquiries come through where people say they want to, unless they already started dabbling in stuff and I'm helping them with that, I usually say I'm not the coach for someone if they want to do a first timer show and they want to take assistance, because I just think that it's best to decide that you're invested before you consider that as an option.
Mm.
Anyway, that's my rant. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I'm assisted as well. Like I'm relatively open about it. Like I feel like there isn't always be able to talk to your coach. I have a lot of girls that come to me
Agree.
from other coaches because they haven't been able to talk to them, and the stacks that they've run have been ludicrous. But they've also
Agree.
just known. So I'm very big on I will tell my clients as much as possible to give them the education.
Agree.
And I will always make sure that I am there to present options. What you tell me, what are you trying to achieve? When are you trying to achieve it? I will be that logical head to be like realistically to achieve that you have these pathways. This would take you this long, this would take you this long. These are your risk to rewards. I do have obviously assisted girls, but I've got a load of natural girls as well. And I do have some girls that come to me. If you are with another coach, I won't talk to you about drugs because you're with that coach for a reason. You talk
Agree.
to the coach, you're with that
Agree.
coach, you should be able to speak to them. But I have had girls come to me before that have not been with a coach, or they're just very interested. And I do think it's very good to like get that education out there from a female as well. So I will give education where it's asked, because I will not, first and foremost, I'm not a medical professional. Fucking all these coaches trying to be doctors, stay in your lane. But I will be there to give you education that I know would help support with decisions. And I think the first and foremost, most important thing is if you are unaware of assistance and you're very stereotypical, all drugs turn you into a man. They don't. It's knowing what is an androgenic drug, what is a non-androgenic drug, what or compound, what are peptides, what route on peptides do you want? Do you just want recovery peptides? Are you wanting peptides for like beauty peptides, or are you actually wanting peptides that might help with fat loss or energy? This, I like it because it's a can of worms. So I think it all depends on where you are in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
What are you wanting to achieve from your journey? How quickly are you wanting to achieve it? Weighing up those risks and rewards. I'm not pro heads, but I am
But you're
assist,
not anti them either.
but I'm not anti them because essentially I have used them. But
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean to say like I have known some girls that have run stuff for like a year. Realistically, if you are going down an androgenic route and say you use it in an off season, you're looking at like 6 to 8 weeks. You doing a
Yes.
1 year build, you still got to work for those other like 10, 11 months of the year. So those aren't suddenly magic things. And it's the same thing with, using Clen in a prep or something, but you still got to work hard. So
Mm-hmm.
understand what the compound is, understand
Yeah.
what it does, how does it help, and just education. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So I think that they're all the things you've got to weigh up. You do not have to have them.
Yes.
Do they assist in certain ways? Absolutely. That's why
Mm-hmm.
people use them.
Well, it's the same way that
Like,
supplements supplement a diet. They don't replace the diet.
yeah,
They
I just want to be
help
like,
with it.
you were to walk, this is not, I don't want to be mean, but if you walk into like your Snap Fitness and you see they're like 18-year-old guys, I can guarantee you the bunch of guys are probably running a lot of gear, but because they go out drinking every weekend and then they stand there chatting in the gym sessions rather than training. It's not to stereotype everyone, but that was me growing up witnessing that. didn't realize how many guys were using
Mhm.
gear that actually, so this is the thing you got. So yeah, this is why education is so important. So PEDs,
Yeah.
peptides, androgenic, non-androgenic, whatever. I will happily give some advice from my personal knowledge, not claiming to be anyone if they are on the team or if you do not have a coach. But I will not be talking to anyone that has a coach because you have that coach for a
Yeah.
reason. If you can't speak to your coach, red flag. And if your
Hmm.
coach just puts you in gear without you being able to ask questions, red flag.
Yeah,
So,
and I think just touching on what you were saying, like, by the way, clients or whoever can talk to me about it. Like, I always say to my clients, if you're wanting to go down that route, just know, one, I will not recommend it to you, right? So if that's something that you want to do,
it's your
you
decision.
have to come to me about it, but you also have to present a business case about it. Right? So I want to know that you've done your research. You're not just speaking to me about it. You've got different research, views, perspectives. You've taken it seriously. You've researched what these drugs do, how they can impact you, what the risks are, what the rewards are, all of that. Like, you need to convince me that this is a good idea. Once you've convinced me, we can talk. But like, I don't want to make it easy. Like, and I think that if your reason for doing it is, I just want results now, right? And I always again say this to my clients. If yeah, if you're not maximizing your training and your diet, like if you can't stay consistent with those, don't even talk to me
They've got to be
about
like
it.
those 18-year-old lads in Snap Fitness.
No,
Yeah.
but
So
I've had clients send me training videos and I'm like, look, like you're not even training hard enough to grow muscle, let alone because let's remember if you're using drugs that are going to help with muscle building, they're only going to do that if you're actually doing things that build muscle. So, I always encourage my clients to look at the bare bones of what they're doing first. Are they absolutely making sure that they're using all the tools that they should be using correctly and to the best of their ability before they consider adding all of that in? Because let's face it, right? Glitter on shit is not gold, it's just glittery shit. So,
Immune system, like get those habits in
yeah.
place, like get your food, your sleep, your stress, everything in place,
Hmm.
get your training in place, get your normal supplements in place, like your hydration, your hormonal support, get all of that in place. Then that would be like the top kind of thing. But
And also just remember that these things do not affect everybody equally, right? There's a genetic capacity to how you respond to drugs. Like I've seen some people hammering them and get none of the negative side effects of it. But I've seen some people take a little bit and it all goes west. Do you know what I mean? That it's any advice that you receive or that we say is very generalized, but how your body responds to these things is going to be specific to you. But what I did just want to touch on is the considerations that I thought about before I decided using things. So when it came to me using Clen, it was COVID year. I didn't have access to a gym. And I had already done my first year of competing. So I was like, I think I'm open to exploring something more that could help me. And that was the conclusion that I came to. And then beyond that, um, when we're talking about anabolics and things like that, it wasn't until I turned pro and I was like, I'm going to be competing against girls that have barely touched their 20s. I'm in my mid 30s. I'm not now, I'm nearly 40 now, but like it was, if I want to be competitive as a pro, and it wasn't even I need to do drugs because these people are doing drugs. That's not what I mean. It was I'm in my mid 30s. I've just turned pro and my ability to build muscle is going to slow down because of where I'm at in my life. And if I want to be competitive and make improvements and be able to stand against these people that are at a point in their life where they can develop much quicker than I can, I might need a bit of help. And then it was exploring, okay, well, what kind of help do I want? And am I open to what the worst risks of what those things would be? Um, these are the things that you need to think about. But what certainly wasn't on my list was, well, Jen Dory takes this, so I'm gonna take it. Like
A drug stack.
I've never asked you what you take.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you've got a phenomenal physique. I don't. I know. I look at things in your physique that I'm like, oh, I'd love to
Creatine.
have that about me. There you go, right? Creatine, dangerous stuff that. But like I look at your physique and I'm like, I admire it, but I've never
Honestly,
once
I
gone,
can't stress enough. Less is more. I
mm,
cannot stress enough.
mm,
I will say that most people obviously might use stuff when it comes to being on a prep. I'm not going to say what I did use because again, it's very generalized. I don't want everyone jumping on the bandwagon, but I will say that this season just gone, I did Arnold's first, and when I finished that, I still did. How many other shows did I do? Two or three, and I can say I wasn't on anything.
mhm.
So you think people are on stuff, but I promise you, like it is build those foundations, and yes, they assist. That's why they're called
Yeah,
assistants. But
yeah.
also, no, more is not better. Don't go slamming a
No,
load of stuff. And
no,
if
and like,
whichever puts you on 50 milligrams of Anavar, please
oh,
fuck.
please get rid. But no, like even with me, like putting into context, like um, I haven't, I used Clen for a couple of weeks at the back end of my holiday prep this year, just to kind of nudge things over the line a little bit. But I haven't touched any anabolics or anything. I've never tried peptides, right? Like that's
I've tried peptides. I'll speak about that. BPC, TB blend, GHKCU. I tried KPV for my skin. So this was all for recovery and skin purposes. Matt used Motsy in his prep and 5-amino. So again, if you talk to your coach, I will never step on anyone's toes. But if you do want to talk about things, then of course, I turned into a bit of a peptide
but
freak. I haven't used
no,
a lot,
but
but
I think people think that people that are assisted are on assistance all the time, and
yeah.
that's just not needed. And if you are, maybe check that out. But like, it's as and when needed, and like G said, like I'm very minimal.
Hmm.
Get the most out of as little as
Yeah.
possible.
Do it
Uh,
right.
and
And
just don't just chuck shit in. Please just get advice and think about why you're doing it.
yeah, know your why and get educated. So it wasn't me being rude looking down, it's because I was getting my phone up for the next
Now
question.
you do your thing, girl.
Just switched off. I'm done now.
Yeah.
Um, so would love to hear you guys talk about coaches showing favoritism towards certain clients, particularly those who get their pro cards, e.g., posting them more, resharing them over other athletes. I get it's good for business, but interested on your take.
I've had a similar question, so I'm assuming it's probably come from the same person.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Question
yeah.
I was asked before, but we didn't get around to doing it because we talked too
Well,
much.
maybe they just took their opportunity to ask again because they really want us to answer it. But
Do it again in case you don't think it's going to come up again.
yeah, no, do it. Like it's a good way to cover your bases. But no, the question I had was opinions on coaches showing favoritism towards higher caliber athletes.
Okay, yeah, kind of.
Similar thing. Do you want to go first? Because I ranted a lot on the last one.
I mean, if you're not good enough, it sucks. No, I'm joking. Then
I
that's
wouldn't know what that feels like. Sorry. No, I'm joking.
no. So especially because I work with a lot of first timers as well, I know how fucking hard it is to compete. So of course I get the business, but coming from coach and coming from athlete, I do get the business aspect because when you've got people that are winning pro cards and then you've got someone that maybe is turned up on stage for the experience, of course, like a coach is want to post a pro card. But I do try and make a conscious effort that yes, I want to post for business, the people that, do well in that sense. But I'm never going to discredit anyone because I've been there where I have not done well on show day. Like, not even just like you might have done well, but maybe like you didn't get your pro card or whatever. But I've been there where I have not like dead last, and I've had my coach in the audience sulking. And oh my God, I felt like I had just let them down royally. And I know all of my girls, they've all said it to me. I just want to make you proud. Oh my God, you getting on stage. I don't give a flying fuck where you place. I
Exactly
genuinely
that.
don't. It's firstly the most subjective sport that you're going in. You could win one show and come dead last in another. I've done that plenty of times. So never put pressure on yourself that you have to place because I don't care. I
Agree.
only time I'll tell you off is if you don't bloody smile because you hadn't done all this work to not smile on that stage. And there's
And I've
been,
heard her shouting it too
yeah, there's
loud.
videos of me where I'm shouting on stage and I'm going, smile. And you can see like my girls have gone from being like, where like they're literally hunting for me and then they've gone, because they can see. And there's nothing more natural than seeing someone in the audience that's smiling at you to smile back. So I will swear, as long as I am at that show, they will somehow see me. I'm like a meerkat and I will be smiling. So I will always post about my girls no matter what. So you, some of, especially if they do more shows, normally like girls that are doing better might do more shows because they want to keep going, or more seasoned athletes might do more. So naturally, they might get posted about more just because there's more shows to post about them. Whereas some girls might just do the one show. So they're only posted like maybe about their journey on their show day. There's only so many times you can post about someone. If you keep doing shows, they're going to be posted about more. But I will always try and give everyone, if you've stepped on stage, I'm going to give you that credit for stepping on stage because that's a fucking feat in itself. No matter if it's, and it's not to discredit standards, if it's a UK up show and you haven't placed, or an IFBB show and you won your pro card, you've still done a prep. It's still, you know, again, we've entered a subjective sport. You're entering with your background, your genetics. You half the time you've worked harder than probably the one with the genetics, not to discredit the genetics, because you have to, because you're entering a
Okay.
sport that's so subjective. So if you're fighting something that's genetic based as well, fucking great to you for still getting on stage. And that's where we set those limitations that you go for where you're going to fit. But yeah, I like I said, I've been on stage and I've had my coach looking salty as shit because I didn't do well, and I'm not going to do that. So as far as showing favoritism, it's not nice. I've used to do reels for Matt. And I'm so cautious of who gets shown when. I would literally count how many, because he had so many different levels of athletes. There was one show he had like 5 or 6 guys, and they were completely different tiers of athletes. And I was still so conscious of how many times people were shown in the videos because I didn't want someone to be like, oh, well, so and so, because he looks like he's going to get his pro card. So yeah, I would hate to think that my girls didn't think I was proud of them or happy for them because you've got on stage, you've done a prep. I am happy.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with everything that you say. Like my favorite saying to my clients is, look, I only give a fuck about if it's your first time on stage that you get up there and have a good time and that you're happy with the physique that you're presenting, right? Whether or not that's competitive is out of our hands. I could not give a fuck about whether or not you place, right? Obviously a trophy is nice. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a good time and the physique is where it needs to be, amazing. And obviously if they've competed before, as long as you get up there improved and you have a good time, that's the main goal. Like whether or not it's good enough to place is
Yeah.
out of our hands. As long as we put you on stage the best that we could put you up there, that's all that matters. Now, what were you going to say, G? Sorry.
That's something to touch on as well because I have had a yes coach before and I got on stage not ready, but I did everything right. Now I
Yeah.
would loved it more. Firstly, I wanted to push more and she didn't push me. So I
Okay.
know I could have been ready. That's what was annoying. But I would have liked it if she said, you're not ready. Let's push it back a few weeks. And that's something I do tell my girls. And it's not a nice conversation to have. But and if they say, do and it's the worst question is, do you think I'm ready? When I know they're working hard, but I still will answer the question honestly. If I don't, because the last thing I want, because I've been there, is you to be on stage and feel out of place. Because you've just touched on if they are bringing a physique they're happy with. I've only had it a couple of times where girls have still got on stage. Normally they listen, they push it back, and it's shit in the moment. Promise you, because I've been there. But they are so much better for it because they feel better when they present a better stage look. But if you get on stage and you're not ready, and I've had that conversation with you, that might be a time that I maybe don't post about you so much. And I know that sounds harsh, but I've had that conversation with you because again, that is probably where it's more business minded. That's your choice that you've got on stage, and that I don't want that to come across mean, but I've given you that respect that I wanted myself to have that conversation of we push it back, we be real, or we don't get on stage. I've not got on stage before because I haven't been ready, because I want to hold myself to a standard if I work this hard. So that's the only caveat, which I know sounds savage,
No,
but
I
give you the
look.
respect in the first place to have that. If I didn't give you the respect and I let you get on stage out of shape, and the last thing I want is you to work that hard, get on stage, and then you feel like shit because you felt everyone like you've got, yeah, because there
Look,
is standard.
it's not savage. Some people might see that as savage because they're
I think
uncomfortable with the concept of the fact that coaching is a business,
yeah,
right? Now, for me, for example, my clients, it's I can't really think of an example where I've knowingly put someone on stage where they were that bad but not aware of what the outcome would be. I still post regardless because for me, I'm kind of like, I'm just happy that they got up there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I just, I don't, I, it's the achievement of the prep rather than show day. Like, I genuinely could not care less about whether or not someone got a trophy. If the client gets off stage and goes, I'd rather you not post about that, I respect that. But other than that, I'm like, look, if you liked your look and you were happy and you had a good time, I don't care whether you were competitive or not, you're still getting posted, right? That's just, but that I have a more relaxed perspective on this kind of thing compared to most. I think, and this was going to touch on the juxtaposition that I was going to bring up, you know, playing devil's advocate in a sense of this question is I think that we would love for everyone to share everybody equally, but I feel like people, it's a chicken and egg situation. Now, the reason I say that is because coaches want their storefront to look its best. And that normally to the audience comes across as good results, right? The amount of clients that I've asked where they've told me about a coach that they've decided to go with, and I'm like, what made you go there? And they were like, oh, they got top threes and play. It's all about the placings, right? They never went, oh, I saw that wicked transformation that they did with that person that got on stage but didn't place. Like,
yeah,
that's no one's basing their decision on a coach based on average results, right?
yeah,
It's either that that coach offers something that appeals to them, whether that be who they are or their knowledge or whatever it is. For some coaches, their draw is the results that they're able to achieve.
yeah,
And obviously, if that's your main draw, the results that you're able to achieve, you're going to showcase your best results because that's going to attract someone that is attracted to the fact that results are their main point of success. So it's like for me, for example, like I obviously am well aware of what the category criteria is. I'm good at putting people on stage competitively. But I'm also well aware of the fact that who I am probably pulls people in towards me. And that's probably why I lean less towards making sure that I only post certain clients. And also, this is the other thing you lot need to bear in mind. Quite often, the higher caliber, if that's what you want to call it, higher caliber, better placing, whatever clients that you're talking about, they probably post themselves more. Okay,
mm,
so if we remove the show day bit and we're just talking about content, they probably tag their coach more, they probably collab them in stuff more, they probably just actively post their journey more. And when that happens, the coach is going to share that more. So sometimes it's not even necessarily a case of something that they're consciously doing. Sometimes it's just a case of it organically happens because those athletes are more in your face with the content that they do. And then
yeah.
the coach just gets brought along with that, right? So
I
it's like,
know I've got like regular girls who tag me all the time, so I'm resharing their stuff. But I've got loads of girls that don't, they still post their gym stuff. They just never tag me. So
yeah,
I'm not going to reshare something you haven't tagged me in because I can't reshare it.
yeah.
I think the
But it's
biggest
like,
with
carry
coaches
on.
is go because all coaches post their clients.
Mm.
So if you are unhappy or if you're looking at other coaches or whatever, just instead of messaging the coach, message their clients. Like I'm sure both of us, because I'd like to say both our clients love us equally.
I hope so.
Go to any of our pages, find all the transformations we posted, and just be like, I've seen you work with so and so. What's your thoughts? And what is it you want to get from a coach? Is it the support, the mindset, the results, the drug support? Like, what is it you want from a coach? Is it just this is black and white, do what you're told? Or is it you want that emotional support, that, you know, that in-depth, whatever it is? So that I think I'd say that's always a big thing as well.
Yeah, I think it also just depends on like how important them sharing you is to you. Because I've got a lot of clients, and I say this all the time, like when I get on consults, people will be like, oh, like I know you like on your social media that you work with a lot of competitors, but I don't want to compete. And I'm like, look, most of my client base is actually lifestyle. It's just they don't share their journeys that much, right?
Yeah.
Competitors share their journey all the time because that's literally the nature of what bodybuilding is. It's very public and in your face, right? So it's like just because a coach doesn't share you doesn't necessarily mean that that's because they only share or care about their higher, so this higher caliber thing. Like I don't like using it as a phrase because I think that infers that you think you're less than someone.
Yeah.
Um,
You've
but
all done
I'm
the
just
work.
using the word that's in the question,
Yeah.
right? But like if you feel like they're sharing those people more, like if that was me, for example, I'd be like, okay, well, how much does that actually matter to me? Am I getting the service that I want from my coach? Am I seeing the progress that I want to see? Like, does whether or not they post me actually change anything for me? And if it fundamentally does, and that's important to you, then it's just about finding a coach that you feel is going to invest in you that way. But if it's not that important to you, then it's kind of like it doesn't matter. You're still getting what you need
Yeah.
out of this
You'll
out of the
get
journey.
results. Like that's what you've got your coach for. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, I know we've got a few other questions each, but I've just been looking at the calendar. That's why I was like doing here.
we've got time.
We we don't have anything on next week.
No,
So we may as well do like a big Q&A physique if you want physique reviews and stuff. So I'm just aware that I think we've been on this podcast for like
hour and a half.
an hour and a half.
It's always the ones where we have less shows where we talk the most.
So we've got no shows next week. So brace yourself for 2 hours.
Brace yourself for 2 hours, but also we need to be prepared for the fact that I bet you nobody asks us any questions.
I actually still do have a couple of questions that we've just keyed
I've
on
got some as
down to.
well,
So we've got the baseline. So what we'll
but
do, put a
give us
question.
more.
Yeah. So should we just put a question box out on like Monday for Tuesday or Sunday, Monday? So we'll do it early next week, ready for next week's podcast. So get your questions ready. If you think of anything in the meantime, you can send us messages. But Q&A next week, physique reviews, because there isn't anything going on. Then the week after is, we won't do anything because it is the Two Bros Pro Qualifier and PCA.
Coventry,
So
yeah.
very busy for the following week. So yeah, next few podcasts all sorted. Hopefully you are still with us for this. And all the normal stuff, like, subscribe, comment, share, let everyone else know. And we will see you in the next one.
Look forward to it. Bye.